So, do antivirus products only rely on signatures? I got this feeling from so many people that because of different courses in pen testing, in CH, and articles even, they talk about antivirus products as they only have a signature. That's only what they do. They only scan files against signatures, and that's why you need tool ABC, or you need this or that, and that's actually completely wrong. Antivirus companies don't only rely on signatures. They have so many different technologies inside their product that can able to detect different malware samples and even mitigate attacks. So here are just an example of, or some examples of technologies that are included in different antivirus products. The first thing is that they do have signatures, they do have memory signatures, and they have automatic unpacking for different known backers. If there's so many backers that are not known, some antivirus companies, they do have an emulated system. They do have a complete emulated system, an operating system, processor, all of these are emulated, and they run the malware in this emulated system to be able to and wait for it until it unpack itself, decrypt itself if it's encrypted, and then they do scan the memory after they did the unpacking, all in their safe emulated system. They do also monitor applications that are running, and they sandbox them if they look a bit suspicious or it's the first time they run on this machine. They have other technologies like heuristics, for example, to detect suspicious files using some characteristics inside the malware. Not only the BE characteristics, because that could be not enough, but they could be scanning the whole file for different characteristics and even domains that are using, and find something that looks suspicious. Not only characteristics based on the physical file, it could be also based on the memory layout after the malware runs, or any process injection that's happening, or beyond memory, and looking at the whole behavior in details, and have kind of behavior heuristics and monitoring different strange behavior and block malwares that are doing something dangerous or affecting the assets of that user or of this on this machine. Something like injecting inside a browser, or stealing some credentials, or accessing even some cookies, the database inside firewall, inside the Firefox or Google Chrome, or different techniques like that, or even the passwords file, or things like that. This is also some of their technologies. They may also be using machine learning for some of their techniques, or they could be using something like how it's called, something like reputation technology. So with the reputation, they can check if this file have been seen on so many different machines or not. If it has been seen on machines that then found some other malwares inside this machine, or machines that are very known to be safe and they have a high reputation of being safe, or maybe these samples are already whitelisted because there are companies who, like Bit9, for example, they know what are they have like a big list of whitelisted hashes that are sure that these files are not malicious. So they check if it's not whitelisted, if it connects to domains that are not whitelisted, and it appears on machines, for example, that are affected by other malwares as well, or suspicious files, or they connect to suspicious domains, and from this way they can actually mark this file as suspicious and even upload it to the cloud to be scanned. So there are so many different technologies, and that's only the antivirus part. There is the firewall as well, which is included in the endpoint protection. They have exploit mitigations that they can able to detect if there's an exploitation on the system, if there is an application, or even like a legitimate application, and there is some input that tries to take over this application and tries to gain privilege inside the system. They're able to detect that. They're able to detect memory corruption or other types of exploits. They are able as well, some of them, they have a password vault, they have a way to protect browsers, they have a way to have their own protected browser, they protect passwords. and different assets, and also trying to protect against ransomware and detecting if there is a mass changes or mass wiping for so many files. These are just some of the technologies. Even firewalls, they have way more technologies. So why antivirus still rely on signatures? Why they are still using signatures? If they have all of these technologies, why they don't need signatures in the first place and spending tons of money for that? There are multiple reasons for this. The first reason is that these signatures are really lightweight. They are easy to scan the malware with these signatures. Plus that they have the lowest false positives from all the other technologies that they have. So all the technologies and techniques they are using, the signatures are the least false positives. Not only it can really detect the malware, it has the lowest false positives and maybe the lowest false negatives. Well, that's questionable because they can only detect these samples that have been scanned by the company, but new samples that from the or new variants from the same family could be a challenge for signatures. However, it has the lowest false positives. And that's one of the main reasons. But the second reason is also it helps them identify the malware, not only to detect this malicious file, but they can also identify what is the family of this malware, and beyond that, what are the type of attackers, what they are going after, and what assets they could have been stealing out of this machine. For example, they could be detecting this malware as a banking Trojan. Then they have to tell the user, or they have to tell the user if maybe his bank account could be stolen or some of his money could be stolen. If this malware is a ransomware, then that's another issue. If it's a specific ransomware that they can decrypt it, then that's really great. So they can go with decrypting actually all the files that have been encrypted and so on. So it doesn't only give them the opportunity to detect the malware, but also identify the family and identify who is behind this attack and what assets they are for. So that's it about why do antivirus only rely on signatures or not, and why they're still relying on it. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.